Hello and welcome back for another episode with your favorite Project Lead the Way teacher, Mr. Spaeth. Today we're going to be talking about Autodesk Inventor and constraining our 2D sketches. So before I get into my speech today, let me share my screen with you. So what I'm going to do is just kind of show you why we use constraints and how they can make it building things in Autodesk Inventor a little bit easier. So I'm just going to start a sketch right away. And I'm going to pick any plane I want. I'm just going to start with a line, and this time, let's see. I'm going to start from the middle, and maybe I'll have something that's about 5 inches tall. I don't know exactly what I want to do yet. So let's go here, and let's just kind of start building something that we want to look like, say something like that, okay? Notice this first line that I have here is purple and the other ones are green. Now we've seen this before in our projects prior to this, but what this means is that these green lines are not constrained, meaning they could be anywhere and I could move them kind of wherever I want because nothing's telling them not to move. Okay, so one of the things we can do, and one of the things I want us to do from now on, is to constrain our parts, meaning I want to know exactly how tall they are. Let's say this one should be 5 instead of 4.9. And we can also do angles as well. Say I wanted to do this one at 115 degrees. So now notice I have a dimension part right here. Let's make this 2.55. That's becoming fully constrained, meaning that I can't just move this stuff around anymore because I have dimensions on there that constrain it to a specific spot. This way of programming, or this way of designing in Autodesk Inventor, is sometimes much, much easier than trying to make every single line perfect and dimensioned all at once, okay? Here, I can just draw the basic shape that I want, and then I can go about constraining it the way that I want to constrain it, or I can constrain it the way that the print tells me to constrain it. So let's say the print, instead of 108 degrees, told me this should be 110. I can go back in there and constrain it to be 110. Okay, very, very easy now to put dimensions in after the fact and make sure that my part is fully constrained, okay? So these are some easy ways to constrain, but what we have is an opportunity to view all these other types of constraints. Notice there's dimension, we have coincidence, collinear, concentric, fix, we have vertical constraint, horizontal constraint, you can imagine what those two are used for, perpendicular, we have parallel constraint, tangent, smooth, and a couple other ones really that I don't use much. Equal is also another one that's used quite often. Okay, so then once we're done constraining this fully, now I'm not fully constrained here, we can go on out and again, we can extrude it, revolve it, sweep it, whatever it is we're doing to our specific part. Okay, so basic Autodesk Inventor style of actually creating something is going in, starting a sketch, drawing up a picture that looks like what we want to make, but not exactly it, and then going back in and constraining it is the easiest and fastest way to make stuff in Autodesk Inventor. So we want to practice that today. So I'm not going to save this because I don't know what the heck that is. What you guys are going to do is ask your teacher where you can locate 5.2 ASR geometric constraint file. We're going to open that file up, and you're going to notice there's just one sketch on it. And we're going to double click on that sketch because we are going to follow the directions here. We can zoom in if we want and constrain the lines or circles that are located there in the manner that it asks us. So make perpendicular. So we're going to grab our perpendicular constraint, click on one, click on the other, and notice our lines are now perpendicular. Okay. If I don't want the perpendicular constraint on anymore, notice that it still is because it's highlighted. I just click escape. So there we are. So make all three lines parallel to one another. So grab the parallel constraint, that one, and then this one and this one. Notice I had to click click which one I wanted it to be parallel to first, and then which one I wanted to move second. Okay, so now this one is a little bit tricky. It says dimension number 3 to the diameter of number 2. So dimension number 3, so dimension number 3 to a diameter of 2 inches. So not number 2, but a diameter of 2 inches. So here we are measuring diameter, and just to make sure, yes, I am measuring diameter. So instead of 0.7358505, we're just going to say 2. Okay. Fix circles 1 and 2. So we're going to grab our fix constraint, fix, and make 3 tangent to 1 and 2. So let's see, we're going to make tangent number 3 to 1, and number 3 to 2. And there we are. Okay, that's exactly what that was asking us to do. A lot of directions there. Okay, make circle tangent to both lines. So again, we're going to grab our tangent constraint. Okay, so notice all these pictures are just, they're the lines we wanted, but they're just not drawn exactly how we wanted them yet. Okay, so fix point C. So fix point C. C is right there. We're going to fix it. Make endpoints A and B coincident with point C. So we need our coincident constraint. Forget which one that is. Coincident. And all that means is that it's going to move one object to or toward another point in an object. So make endpoints A and B coincident with point C. So right here and right there, and this endpoint right here and right there. Okay? Make circles concentric. We have our concentric constraint. So we're just going to grab one another. And now they're all concentric to one another. Notice the constraints that are on there. You can look at what constraints you have by just clicking on a piece, right-clicking, and going show all constraints. And it'll show the constraints that are on there. If you hover over it, it should say constraint. Does it say the type? It does not, but we can look up at our symbols here and notice that that's the concentric constraint. If we want to hide all those, we just right-click that part again and say hide all constraints. Okay, so make collinear. So there we are. Make lines horizontal. Grab our horizontal constraint. Zoom out. Make lines vertical. Make an equilateral triangle. Equilateral meaning all sides are equal, so this is where we're going to use our equal constraint. And notice the equal symbol on all of those sides. And then make circles the same size, so equals this one. Now they are the same size. We can check that just by taking a dimension. Okay, so we know exactly that they're the same size. Notice when I try to put a dimension on this one, it says this will over-constrain the sketch, because if we look at the constraints on this part, oops, we just need to go OK or escape. Show all constraints. They'll show the equals constraint. So we don't need to put another dimension on it since this one is already constrained with the equals constraint. Okay. And then line up the centers of the circles on the same horizontal plane. All right, so let's see if we can do that. So sometimes you just need to look around at which one would be the right one. Constraint settings, same horizontal plane, Equals, so maybe the center? No, this will change our diameters. Make them vertical, horizontal, same horizontal plane. So let's grab our coincident one and hit the centers. Well, they're definitely on the same horizontal plane. I just made them concentric with one another, though. So play around with that one. See what you can find. Again, very, very easy way to make things in Inventor. Very, very fast. just make sure that when you're doing a sketch, draw up about a picture of what it looks like, and then use your constraints, either dimensions or otherwise, to constrain your sketch fully to where it's purple before you extrude. All right. I hope you had a good time with this video, and make sure you print this off and give it to your instructor when you're done. If you like this video, please like, link, share, or subscribe so I can keep on bringing you more videos from Project Lead the Way. Thanks.